Hello and welcome. This is the news on NTA International. I am Lami Ali. First, the headlines. President Buhari gives conditions for a stable Mali at the second extraordinary summit of the ECOWAS leaders. Accident Investigation Bureau commences investigation into helicopter crash in Lagos. Plus, Minister inspects local Water Bridge, re-echoes administration's determination to build infrastructure across the country. Many thanks for joining us. President Muhammadu Buhari has described as welcoming the release of the ousted president of Mali, Ibrahim Keita, by the new military leaders, insisting, however, that the transition process in the country must carry along Malian stakeholders and be completed within 12 months. This, is said, is a critical consideration for the new government to enjoy the cooperation of regional and international community, as well as the possibility of easing the sanctions imposed on Mali. The president was speaking at the second extraordinary summit of the ECOWAS leaders on the socio-political situation in the West African nation. State House correspondent Adam Sambu has the details.
It is clear that close engagements with the military leadership in Mali are yet to achieve the desired result in several key areas.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who is personally happy to hear of the release of former Malian leader Ibrahim Keita, however, insists that embracing democracy and good governance by the new military leadership is crucial to the country's political stability.
Nigeria believes that the people of Mali and the military leaders need to appreciate the fragility of their country and the imminent danger which it poses to the citizens of Mali as well as of the ECOWAS sub-region. Mali cannot afford to stand alone. Hence the need to come to terms with the realities of acceptable and workable transition compact that inspires the confidence of all Malians.
The president described as imperative that flexibility is demonstrated by the military leaders as they negotiate the fate of their country, taking into account the collective interests of the ECOWAS sub-region.
I urge the military leadership to consider the immediate release of all the remaining senior government officials in detention without preconditions. A transition process to be completed in not more than 12 months.
We apologize for the flicker and the hitch we had in that story. Moving on, the federal government says Nigeria will continue to support the multinational joint task force in the discharge of its mandate, despite being at the low ebb of resources caused by COVID-19 and falling oil prices. President Muhammadu Buhari made the promise while receiving an audience the Executive Secretary, Lake Chad Basin Commission, Ambassador Mamman Nuhu. Again, State House correspondent Adam Sambu reports that the president also engaged the outgoing Norwegian ambassador to Nigeria, Jens Petter Jemprud.
The Executive Secretary of the Lake Chad Basin Commission, Ambassador Nuhu Mamman, is also the head of Mission Multinational Joint Task Force based in N'Djamena, the Republic of Chad. He is here to give President Muhammadu Buhari an update on the proposed recharge of Lake Chad as one of the priorities of the Lake Chad Basin Commission. He told President Buhari, whom he appreciated for his great passion and commitment to the revival of the receding lake, that the governments of China and Italy are greatly supporting the project and positive action soon to commence. Ambassador Mamman used the opportunity to commend countries which have contributed troops to multinational joint task force, saying, however, that kinetic military approach alone would not eradicate insurgency. He said emphasis must be placed on the root causes, particularly poverty. President Muhammadu Buhari said despite the paucity of resources, security of Nigeria and that of our neighbors must have pride of place. The president promised to consult with his counterparts of the Lake Chad Basin countries and all other relevant officials on the matter. One thing he, however, said is certain: they will indeed do their best. Meanwhile, in a virtual farewell meeting with the outgoing Norwegian ambassador, President Buhari expressed delight at the progress made in the Nigeria-Norway relations in the last 4 years. He commended the envoy for the bilateral accomplishments in the areas of oil and gas, fishing, humanitarian assistance in the northeast, and other benefits that his efforts have brought to Nigeria. The outgoing ambassador, James Peter Kembrut, noted with pride the substantial growth in the economic relations between Nigeria and Norway during his tour of duty. He particularly noted the presence of more than 70 Norwegian companies in the country, as well as the important step by the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund to invest in the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The envoy also cited as a very important achievement the organization of 2 donor conferences driven by Norway that raised more than $1 billion for development purposes as well as humanitarian assistance in the northeast. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Zulum, has commended President Muhammadu Buhari for his political will and measures to end terrorism and other forms of criminality across the country. Governor Zulum gave the commendation at the inauguration of the Tukur Buratai Institute for War and Peace, Buratai, Borno State. Ismail Musa has that report.
With this, the Tukur Buratai Institute for War and Peace, conceived in 2016 as a counter-terrorism museum, has been inaugurated. The institute, situated in Buratai, the local government area of Borno, is part of the Nigerian Army University system, devoted to the study of different warfare with emphasis on asymmetric conflicts and rehabilitation.
The Tukur Buratai Institute aims at training and capacity building for military personnel as well as civilians in counter-terrorism and counter-insurgency operation, humanitarian response, peace conflict and peace building, as well as reconstruction, with a view to influencing policy at state and community levels.
We shall continue to support our armed forces. When we occasionally criticize, we do so with a view to improving on our successes and not out of lack of appreciation.
To the Vice Chancellor, Nigerian Army University View, the Research Institute is among the Nigerian Army's non-kinetic approach in fighting Boko Haram.
And it is part of the Nigerian Army's efforts at defeating the Boko Haram insurgency not only by kinetic force, but intellectually by providing education, that thing which they do not want.
The development of Tukur Buratai Institute for War and Peace began with this bullet-riddled building.
Was formerly the house of the Chief of Army Staff, which was attacked by the Boko Haram, which was made to become museum, which was later transformed to Tukur Yusuf Buratai Center for Counterterrorism Center. And now it has metamorphosed into Tukur Buratai Institute for War and Peace.
Staff quarters for the institute were also inaugurated. The institute, with 6 specialized centers, has a projection for expansion and collaboration with other research organizations across the country. From Buratai in the local government area of Borno State, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
And in other news, Japan's longest-serving Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has announced his resignation because of poor health on Friday, ending his stint as the helm of the world's 3rd biggest economy, in which he sought to revive growth and bolster its defenses. He said he had decided to step down now to avoid a political vacuum as the country copes with its novel coronavirus outbreak. He's battled the disease ulcerative colitis for years. Joining us now in the studio is an international affairs expert, Paul Ejime, to look at the implication of the Prime Minister's resignation. Sir, you're most welcome to the studio of NTA International.
Thank you for having me, and good evening, viewers.
Now, did the Japanese Prime Minister's resignation come to you as a surprise, and what does that mean for Japan at this time?
Well, not really as a surprise, because Japan is not known to have, long-serving. In fact, Abe is the longest-serving, and that is just for 8 years. He took office in 2012, and this is 2020. So they have that short span of administration. That is to show that what is working for them is the institution, not personality, unlike what you have in Africa. I think that point has been made. And then the lesson there is enormous for Africa. Here we are talking about his illness. In Africa, it's probably almost a taboo to mention the health status of leaders. But here he is suffering from a bowel problem, which is public knowledge. And then he is also, in Africa, we have leaders who sit tight, even when they are ill. And then they either, in fact, somebody said that African leaders, they don't resign, they don't leave, they are either pushed or they die in office. I think he is showing an example from Japan that it is about governance. It's not about individuals. It's about institution. The institution can ride without personality if it is strong. I think former President Obama made that remark, and that is what Africa should be aiming for, to have a system that works, not people, not dependent on individuals, and then to be transparent with information.
Now talking about governance and leadership, the resignation of Shinzo Abe, who many have described as a stabilizing factor in the region, will his exits cause any friction, considering his very important role in that region?
Well, I think he has played his part. Like I was saying, it is an institution that works for a country like Japan. It's not individuals. Of course, he has played his part. You remember him for Abenomics. He has done a lot in economics. He brought the hosting of Olympics to Japan that was supposed to happen this year, but now moved to 2021. There's so much that he has accomplished in the region, and then looking Japan taking its place in among the Committee of Nations politically. And then remember, he's also under his tenure that Japanese can now serve in international peacekeeping. It has never happened since the Second World War. So there's a lot of legacy that he is leaving behind. But that is as far as it goes. I mean, he leaves the scene. He is ill, and then he has played his part and let another person come on. I think that is what that is what leadership is about. Leaving when the ovation is loudest, and then knowing when to leave, so that you are not either pushed or you die in office.
Now, looking at the politics in that region, what do you think will now be the focus of Japan, considering the exit of the former Prime Minister?
Yeah, the immediate one is, fighting COVID-19. I think there was an issue that he probably didn't, he's not as effective in combating COVID-19 as he's been in other areas. And then the issue of governance, you can never be, it will always come up about the welfare of Japanese, about their standing, the economy has to be strong. I think those are and then look at the equation. There is Japan, there is China there, and then what is happening in international politics. How will Japan play? I think those are the issues. But apart from that, I think there shouldn't be any worries at all, because the mechanism, the engine will run. It doesn't matter who is behind it.
We thank you very much.
Abe has played his part.
We thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you for having me.
That was an international expert, Mr. Ejime, discussing with us the implication of the exit of the Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe. Now to other news. The Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Zubairu Dada, has inaugurated a 14-member ad hoc committee on the establishment of the Nigerian Diaspora Investment Trust Fund, with a mandate to advise on the mission, sources and objectives of the fund. Uche Ugochukwu was at the virtual inauguration in Abuja.
The Nigeria Diaspora Commission is mandated by the Act to harness the resources, skills and talents of the over 17 million Nigerians in diaspora for national development. Setting up a private sector-led Nigerian Diaspora Investment Trust Fund is one of the 3-point outcomes of the first Nigeria Diaspora Investment Summit in 2018 to assist in achieving the goal.
This committee is set up with Nigerians of high repute, people of integrity, and who understand the investment climate globally and are patriotic enough to assist the Nigerian diaspora to complement government's efforts in national development.
The committee is to advise NIDCOM on the following: the mission and objectives of the trust fund, the structure of the fund, especially a private sector-led and driven by the Nigerians in the diaspora.
The ad hoc committee has Dr. Ali Garba as chairman and Professor Mani Anebunam as co-chairman. It is expected to submit a report in 1 month as a guide to the establishment and takeoff of the trust fund. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International. Time now for a short break. More than 77,000 new coronavirus cases in one day, just as countries across Europe tighten COVID-19 restriction measures and amid rising cases. Joyce Ometu has an update on the pandemic.
Countries across Europe are announcing tougher coronavirus control measures as cases surge on the continent. In France, a mask-wearing order has been expanded across Paris. The country on Thursday reported its highest one-day total of new COVID-19 infections since the end of March. Meanwhile, in Spain, children as young as 6 will be required to cover their mouth and nose while at school. In Germany, officials have called on citizens to stop traveling to countries and regions deemed high risk, and a ban on major events has been extended until the end of the year. In the meantime, the United States has bought 150 million rapid coronavirus tests as part of a deal with Abbott Laboratories. Earlier this week, the country's Food and Drug Administration granted emergency approval for the firm's rapid tests, which the company says gives results in 15 minutes. Elsewhere, India has recorded its highest 24-hour figure of new coronavirus cases, with 77,266 new infections reported. And statistics published by a coronavirus resource center in Johns Hopkins University as at 6 p.m. local time shows that 24,754,783 cases are registered globally. So far, 838,109 deaths have been recorded. On the African continent, the Center for Disease Control has raised concerns about rising cases in Tunisia, Morocco, Uganda, and Burkina Faso. It says that Eastern and Northern African regions are still recording increases in new cases. The continent has 1,226,465 cases and 28,923 deaths. Of these figures, Nigeria accounts for 53,317 cases, 40,726 recoveries, with 1,011 fatalities. And that's a global update on COVID-19. I am Joyce Ometu.
Still on COVID-19, as nations grapple with the containment of COVID-19, medical experts in Nigeria say funding of research at the national and sub-national levels will facilitate success in our emergency response. Elizabeth Omori reports that this was their view at the Nigerian Medical Association meeting in Abuja.
Medical practitioners at this meeting are advocating funding of research in order to curtail the spread of COVID-19 and other infectious diseases.
Our response preparedness has worked, but we still have a lot to do, and that's why even at National Assembly we have gone ahead to provide so much aspect in terms of legislative amendments to our law so that it can be able to stand the post-COVID era.
They believe that effective partnership with critical stakeholders in the health sector will foster innovative approaches to fight coronavirus and other health challenges.
The problem we face is that Nigerians don't even believe, many Nigerians don't even believe that COVID is real. And the reality is that it is real. And we should comply with the NCDC protocol of the use of face mask, the use of the regular hand washing.
No doubt, health workers have been leading health security efforts in containing COVID-19 the world over. This, they say, calls for sustained advocacy of healthy living and hygiene practices amongst Nigerians. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
The President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration's determination to build infrastructure is no mean feat, as such projects, either completed or ongoing, dot the length and breadth of the country, putting smiles on the faces of the citizens who have displayed confidence in the President's government. Anthony Forson reports that the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, alongside two other Ministers of Works and Housing and that of Special Duties, inspected the bridge.
The local Oweto Bridge lies on this river, which serves as a boundary between Nasarawa and Benue State. Local from Nasarawa and Oweto from Benue, the two states are known for their agricultural endowment, and so when the idea for the bridge was conceived, two things were taken into consideration. One, how to move farm produce out of these two states to other parts of the country, and two, to ease the long hours spent by motorists moving from the north to the south and from the south up north, as evidenced, even though some more work still needs to be done with the completion of the bridge.
We really thank the federal government, especially the current administration, with vigor and sincerity, and then sympathy that they made it come true for us. We are very grateful. This is to give us a sense of belonging that we are Nigerians, that Nigerian loves us.
The Lord is very bad by that time. Even by this time, we drive machine here, but now we are driving machine, even motor. We are following. I'm very happy.
What is left to be done is the remaining 6-kilometer stretch to link Oweto end to the bridge and the 106-kilometer stretch from Nasarawa to the bridge. With lightning facilities installed on the bridge, all works on the island between the bridges have been completed.
We believe that this is the best way to answer the naysayers who continue to rail that they do not know what government is doing with the loan they've taken. What we are trying to showcase is that, yes, we've taken loans, but we are making very judicious use of these loans. And while these loans might have a lifespan of 20, 15 years, the roads we are constructing will have lifespan of 50, 60 years, and it will outlive many of us.
This government, in spite of very, very limited resources, also having to borrow, is simply doing almost the near impossible in terms of infrastructure. I continue to wish that President Buhari was president when Nigeria was earning $140 per barrel of oil a day. It would have been a different country. But in spite of that, he continues to give support. His commitment to infrastructure and his understanding of the purpose of infrastructure for growth and development.
Upon completion, more traffic will be diverted, especially from Abuja to Lokoja, Ajaokuta to Enugu highways to the new bridge. This will reduce traffic flow through Lokoja route and reduction for maintenance work activities, just as there will be more social and political activities along the bridge corridor, and most importantly, reduce journey time and fatigue. Anthony Forson, NTA News.
The passenger who reportedly survived the ill-fated helicopter that crashed earlier today in Okpebi, Lagos, has died. In the meantime, residents are advised to remain calm as efforts are ongoing to unravel the cause of the helicopter crash that affected two buildings. Adiola Kamiakiri reports that none of the residents inside the buildings or the entire layout was killed or injured, while the next line of action by the state government is to carry out integrity tests on the affected buildings.
Ikeja,
a commercial hub of Lagos was temporarily thrown into panic and confusion when the helicopter BEL 206 belonging to a private company crashed on a private building around noon on Friday. From information gathered, the helicopter departed Port Harcourt to Lagos.
I was reading my Bible when the whole thing happened. I saw the sound. It's a big, large sound that I never heard in my life.
The impact of the crash killed 2 out of the 3 passengers instantly. Their remains have been deposited at the mortuary.
Our major challenge is crowd, and with the assistance of the Commissioner of Police of Lagos State and his team, we are able to be on top of crowd control.
Police arrived there before the other owner. You handed it over to the experts in writing. So like the passports of the one of them or 2 of them now that are recovered now. So 3, all the passports now, you handed it over to the experts.
The black box has been retrieved and taken to the office of the Accident Investigation Bureau, AIB, to reveal the cause of the accident. In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
In the related developments, President Muhammadu Buhari commiserates with families, friends and associates of victims of the Bell 206 helicopter operated by Gorum Aviation, which crashed Friday into a building in Okpegbe, Lagos State. While the nation awaits the reports of investigation into the accident by aviation regulatory agencies, the president prays that God will console the bereaved families, grant peace to the souls of the dead, and speedy recovery for the injured. Remember to link up with NTA and stand against rapes and rapists. I am Lamia Ali.